give it a second. Let me get a comment in the comment box for the first person in. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm gonna do my intros in a second because I know usually it takes a second for the video to catch up. Okay, let's do our intros. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. First person in, put a comment in the chat box so I can know you guys are in here and you guys are riding along with me. And we will be speaking about men kind of in developed and developing economies and countries pretty much saying screw that. So first I want to give actually my thank yous and then state the obvious. The thank you mainly is to Kareen. Shout out to Kareen. Kareen changes her name all the time. So yes, Kareen, not Karen. Miss Kareen, thank you very much. She sent me the email of the first video that I put there with China. I also want to thank AB Media and thank everyone that sends me emails and kind of keeps me up to date to things that I might be missing in news. So yes, I do check my emails, not every day. Just about every day though, just about every day. But yeah, if you see I didn't reply back or whatever, I'm Mr. Z be busy, okay? And I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I'll be busy, but I really am not busy. No, I'm really busy, right? So there's that. But once again, thank you, Kareen. Also, this video is inspired by Dennis Sperling, attorney Dennis Sperling, and his something that he shared on his community chat that I didn't end up sharing, and it's also part of my thumbnail here. So shout out to him also. Who else? We have, and so let me state the obvious before we even start. So somewhere in the world is BGS and the brother, the nameless protagonist screaming, Mouse Utopia Project, Z, Mouse Utopia. And they are right. So before we, before we even get into it, yes. But I wanted to speak about this in another way, sociologically, and what's inspiring, some of the things that might be inspiring more young men to just throw their hands up, right, in these developed and developing countries, particularly in America, for black people, specifically black men. What's the reward? What is the reward? We're not talking about the elite that already have everything set up for them, right? So BGS, I just looked down, I'm at a light, BGS said, okay, right? I know BGS and Nameless are screaming, Mouse Utopia, yes, right? So, but, what's the reward? What is the reward for a working poor, working class, lower middle class young black man, right? He doesn't get the pat on the back because people tell him he's doing what he's supposed to do. He doesn't get any type of veneration or admiration, right? He's not pulling women like that unless he's super charismatic or super good looking, right? Maybe super tall, right? Like, why would these men invest in the society? For what? And more average dudes aren't even getting women like that. So why? Right? Why? So you see, and I really wanted to say this because I really want to make this funny. For all the divester swirler types, the abort black male sons, I think the men beat you to the punch. That's why I put in the videos of the women, the black women that are going to these sperm banks and they're not finding much black sperm. 2%, right? I think black men beat you to the punch, right? Shout out to the black LGBTQ community. You don't want to be around black men, but you still want the black seed. Or I'm sorry, you don't want to be in intimate relationship with black men, but you still want the black seed. As you can see, black men and black boys are like, yeah, no, we're done, no. And as a matter of fact, I should have put a couple of videos of the black girls that are crying in their car, in their parents' car, the young black girls and the young black women. I'm sorry, the older black girls and the young black women that are crying in their parents' car, crying in their car because the black boys and the black men aren't really checking for them, right? And the question is why? Why would they? Why should they? A few decades now of black men ain't ish, and you get here. Low birth rate, low sperm count, low black sperm count in sperm banks, right? And men across the developing world throwing their hands up. So this is not just a black man thing. Once again, for all of the women in the black community, even the not swirlers and divestors, but including the swirlers and divestors who think there's some type of escape hatch outside of the black community, negative. Who think there's some safe place outside of America, negative. You're going to have to deal with what it means to neglect your boys and your men for decades. Right? You're going to have to deal with what that means to sideline your men and your boys for decades. At least 5 to 6 decades. Supercharged over the past 4 decades. And so there's a cost to that. Video after video from China. I didn't even put anything from Japan. From China to Korea, Europe, America. There's also things from Canada, right? Your boys and your men are throwing their hands up. Y'all want to run this? Fine. Here, take it. Take all of it. You were ill prepared. Wait, you thought men were going to play second fiddle and still have to deal with all of the accountability? No. Some men will play second fiddle. You deal with the accountability. But once men realized that that wasn't going to be the thing, then no, hell no. Hell no. Not no, but hell no. Not no, but hell no. Wait a minute. So I'm going to have to play second fiddle and be backup and be support. But when ish hits the fan, I have to take all of the responsibility for this because I'm the man. Who would sign up for that? What movies have you been watching? Right? Right? So there's a reason why these, and mind you, this is not something that's orchestrated, right? This is not men calling each other, hey, we're gonna do the bare minimum. We're not making a phone call to each other saying we're gonna do the bare minimum. It's preserving oneself. Because you look out in the landscape and you say, why? Why would I work myself to death? And she still divorces me, takes the kid, and take whatever little money I do have. Why would I do that? Why would I sign up for that? Gamble what? Right? Why would I do that? See, the society in general, Western society, America particularly, Black America particularly, even more particular than that, thought that you could call men's bluff infinitely, for infinity. You could continue to call men's bluff, and because of their sexual drive, they'll eventually just adhere. Nope. Men will bow down because of that sex drive. What you're finding is those young men have other ways and other means of channeling that energy. And yeah, you're going to get great social disruption because of it. Oh, it's going to be bad. Right? And shout out to all of you brothers both in and out of the black manosphere with all your elitism talk. Yeah, you wanted this too. This is what y'all wanted, right? Best of the best of the best should be able to breed and have children and go on and live happy lives with wives. Fine. Let's see what society you have to be an elite when more and more men throw their hands up. You'll be spoiled for choice. That's great. You'll be spoiled for choice. I don't know how much you're going to like that society, though. Right? So I shared all of those links. And it was easy. Like, the real one, it's really just a one sentence answer, which is Mouse Utopia answers it pretty much everything. But, right? On a day-to-day with people's personal lives and how people are internalizing what they're seeing, this is how people feel. They're throwing their hands up, let it rot, laying flat. Herbivore men in Japan, Korean men and boys just being recluse, and just Korean men and boys and Japanese men and boys just being recluse and playing video games. And in China, they're limiting video game hours and to a certain age group, and then a certain amount of hours per day for under 18 or something like that. Like, because everyone knows you haven't given your boys and your men much to work with. You haven't incentivized them. So they are going to, you know, confide in themselves and watch a whole lot of internet porn and masturbate and stay to themselves and talk to their associates and friends on the internet. Right? And if you're in Japan, I think it's called hikikomori, right? Some of these people don't leave their homes for years on end. Mainly men, young men. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And of course, why wouldn't they? Look at the bargain we're giving them. No more normal. Either work yourself to death to be an elite or be a bum. Right? K-shaped recovery indeed. K-shaped recovery indeed. Yeah, that terminology was really popularized coming out of COVID-19, but I would expand that out because it's bigger and more than just a COVID-19 thing. Right? And it was solidified to me. I can't remember the parent name that owns Banana Republic, The Gap, and Banana Republic, The Gap, and I want to say Old Navy. I don't remember which one of the companies needed to middle company. Kind of where that's emblematic of where we are. We've just ripped the rug from under middle class in America, from middle. And we're doing it more and more. Not just from America, but much of the supposed developed world, right? And your women are telling your men, I don't. Meanwhile, I kind of do actually need men, but nobody's trying to deal with it. Your sons are reacting to the environment. Most men are not part of the manosphere. Most black men are not part of similar understandings of the environment. And they're throwing their hands up. And so right now we're shuffling chairs on the Titanic to go over train tracks. Right? Or to strive for greatness and be regular and average, but still live a good life. Still be a productive person. We have contempt for regular. We have contempt for average. We have contempt for this. And your young men can see that and they can feel that. And they've decided to give up, or at least do just enough to sustain themselves. Oh, Joe said I lost like 13 seconds. My apologies. Okay. Um, okay. So what I was saying was, what have we done to incentivize your boys and your men in the Western world, particularly in the Black America? So whenever you hear me speak, I'm specifically talking about Black America, right? Or I'm emphasizing, better yet, Black America, but also largely in America and in the Western world. What have we done to incentivize our boys, our men, to be productive? Because we have contempt for regular and average. We have contempt for regular and average, right? Your boys and your men can see that, they can feel that. And that's actually not a good motivator. I don't know why everyone thinks that's a good motivator. Either be elite or be a bum. What? How is that working for you? Telling a couple of generations of men, either strive to be elite, work yourself to death, come up with some kick-ass business, scam and dope dealing and try to clean your money, do whatever you need to do, whether legal or illegal, to be an elite, right? Be 10%. Just die and move out the way, be a bum, I don't know. Be homeless, just get out the way. And a couple of generations of that has gotten you where exactly? Right? A couple of generations of that have gotten you where? Right? Shout out to you, Toyo, for the super sticker. Thank you very much. Jost, thank you very much for the super sticker. Thank you. Right? So we're here now. And so once again, shout out to the sister Kareen. And it's when you actually think about it, it's actually kind of sad, right? So we have white, Black, Latino, and Asian are not bluffing, right? And I'm going on a road I don't usually go on, so excuse me if I cut out for a second or two. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, right? Because what we've done to incentivize the men and the boys. So video after video that I posted in the link show you your decline in birth rate in Europe. Well, we already knew that, right? Decline in birth rate in China, decline in birth rate in Japan, decline in birth rate in South Korea, decline in birth rate in America. The only reason that the population in America is staying steady is mainly because of immigrants, right? But decline in birth rate across everywhere. Outside of that reason, right? And why not? Like, that's a real question for everyone. What are we doing exactly to motivate the men and the boys? Be rich and then you could buy a woman that's going to divorce you anyway. Really? Shout out to the Maori twin. And find some creative, interesting excuse for why this divorce is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. What? As she rips your family apart and hopes your children aren't going to be destroyed psychologically, mentally, and emotionally because of it. By the way, parents, stop lying to yourselves about divorce not hurting your children. All the studies still show divorce hurts the children. Just in case you wanted to know. Oh yeah, Mr. Z coming in with all the dark stuff. No. Oh no. Shout out to all you women that keep on lying to yourselves that divorce doesn't hurt the children. Haha. Okay. Right. So why would they? Let me once again. Let me say that quote again, just in case y'all didn't hear it. So I'm supposed to graduate high school, go get a 4 or 6 or 8 year degree afterward, right? Or go to law school or go to med school, get somewhere in the tech field, right? Somewhere in STEM. Find someone that pretends like they give a F about me for long enough to pass the 5 year marriage rate for black people, but then we still get divorced within like 10, 11, 12 years. And then she takes half. Yeah. And then pull a Maori twin and say, how this is not the worst thing in the world, while she's lying to herself that this is not going to affect the children negatively. And then I'm supposed to pretend like I'm not on self-delete watch. Right? And we telling our young men to sign up for that. Because who said marriage was for life, right? And that's even for the ones that can afford it. Once again, y'all already know Mr. Z likes bringing up the marriage numbers. 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above, right? So we pretty much told poor men, kill yourself. Get married if you want. Well, you're going to get married because you think that religion's going to save you. You think that Bible going to save you? All right, watch this. Right? But you're gonna spray Bible verses all through your relationship, and that's gonna save you from modernization, from modernity, from hyper-consumerism, from hyper-materialism, from your wife's envy of her homegirl and her girlfriend's life? You think Bible verses are gonna save you from that? Okay. Right? So yeah, most men are not part of the manosphere. Most men, and like, it's not even a question, right? Most men are not part of the manosphere. Most black men are not part of the black manosphere. But they still feel this though. And their actions are showing that. Right? Their actions are showing that. And what you find out about Calhoun is that he did actually find a way to stop all the mouses from dying, right? He did actually find a way. With the Mouse Utopia project, no one cares. No one cares. And so there is a way to continue to modernize without watching your population go to the toilet. And without this level of social strife. Meanwhile, your politicians and your corporations are encouraging the culture war because that's going to keep you from getting at them for that money and power. And this is very much a conversation amongst men. The women are out to lunch. They don't know and don't care. By vast majority, they don't know and don't care about what's going on. They do not. And that's white, black, Latino, Asian, definitely black women. Now, we already know that. But they don't know or care. They do not. Even the ones that's not hyper materialistic, none the wiser. Don't know, don't care. Woefully ignorant to the environment. They could feel it, but don't care. And don't know how they contribute. to the insanity and don't care how they contribute. And we're not even talking about the worst of them. The clip from South Korea, you have these women knowing that their life, where they are financially is because they have no man. They know. And they still don't have a man. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And that's in South Korea. Right? They know they're in their current situation because they don't have a partner. Okay, you don't want, okay, you're LGBTQ, you don't want a man. You don't even have a partner. Okay, I'll do you a solid. Men are trash, blah, 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 blah. You don't have any partner, though. And so, coming back to America, coming back to the black community, that's why this LGBTQ woman finds that there's only 2% of black sperm in the sperm bank. I don't know, because your men have been being told for that. And I love how Bernard Riley remixed that. Wait, so black men are important now? Right? I thought black men were trash. I thought that's what we've been hearing for decades, right? Black men are the worst thing on the planet. We've been hearing that for decades. And all of a sudden, now that black women, and that's interesting, black women that don't want the mixed baby, they don't want the mixed child. Now that y'all know there's a lot of good black men out there. Interesting. You imagine you live on a planet with this much abundance, this much technology, and your men are deciding not to engage? Your young men, not even your old men, not even your middle-aged men. Your young men are deciding not to engage? Y'all ain't ready for what this is gonna mean. Y'all are not. Y'all are not. Where are all the social scientists? Where are y'all? Horrendous. Yes, I am eating Popeyes today, so we are in the Popeyes line. Right. The ignorance of what's going on, and you see this in the black community. This is why I often bring up the divestors and the swirlers, and you hear Mr. Z stress how much they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know. That's why they think the escape hatch is white men. They don't know. Meanwhile, Scott Galloway is ringing the alarm. Oh my God, white men. White boys and men. Right? Pimp in distress, right? Victor Creed says, oh, black men are special now, huh? Yeah, okay. Detroit says, try Tubby's subs. I have to see, do we even have something like that down here? I will check. I will check. And thank you guys both for the super chat. Thank you very much. Right? So there is some more on the ground reasons. And then let's just call a thing a thing. The women also saying, you know what, I don't find you interesting, you're not attractive enough, you're too short, you got a gut, you're not charismatic enough, right? Let's call it, it's not just the men, okay, let's call a thing a thing. Right? You don't make enough, you're not special enough, you don't have a high enough status. Okay. So this is the cost. And remember, more and more of your young men. That was what, if I'm not mistaken, that's what the title says that I shared as my thumbnail. That attorney Dennis Sperling's shared. So that's, once again, this is not jaded, old, angry men. This is not old, ornery men. This is not even middle-aged men. Eric Deadman, thank you. But it's willful ignorance because the info is out. Thank you, Eric. What did Mr. Z tell y'all a couple streams ago? I don't watch news. It's too depressing. What did Chrissy say? And I'm paraphrasing. She likes being in Fantasyland. Nobody wants to be in this reality stuff all the time. And I'm paraphrasing. Those weren't her exact words. That was the sentiment. What's wrong with a little fantasy? What's wrong? That's not the word. She didn't say fantasy. Ugh. It was a simile to fantasy, but it wasn't fantasy. But yeah, okay, fine. Continue and I'm going to make a video about this toxic positivity, right? That might be the next video. Toxic positivity. Fine. Keep on watching all of that ego stroking, placating content, all that happy content, all that women opening up Louis bag content and makeup tutorials and all this other stuff. Keep watching that. I'm gonna pause right here, you guys. Make my order. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I will be back in a minute. Right, Mr. Z will be back in a minute. Trell, that's hysterical. Fantasy. Hysterical. Put it in the book. That's a good one. Charles said, Officer Faulkner was right. Hashtag Officer Faulkner was right. Hysterical. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back. What's going on, Raj? Okay, we are back. We are back. Um, yeah, and I just glanced a little bit at Rogish's comment. I didn't get to read the whole thing. Shout out to you, Rogish. Um, yeah. So like, yeah, the toxic positivity. Oh yeah, that's coming because I think that's half the reason why. How do I say this without sounding like January 6th? Um, I think that's half the reason why certain buildings still stand in America because I think we have been filled with all of this like pretty much prosperity pimping, but on a national scale, right? Not just in church, right? All that toxic positivity, all that you can do it yourself, the hyper individuality mixed with toxic positivity, I think is how we kind of get here, right? And so everybody has the lottery ticket dream, whether it's through cryptocurrency, whether it's through starting your own LLC, whether it's through working hard and going to school and somehow STEM is going to make you rich. When no, it's going to make you really you're going to be good. Rich, maybe not so much. But most likely you'll be good, especially if you meet the right people, you get in the right field of STEM. Yeah. But all of this like silver bullet way of thinking, like that's part of that toxic positivity, right? That one thing, you're just gonna one thing and you're gonna be a millionaire. You're just gonna wake up and be a millionaire, right? And on a side note, that's Sagar got caught up like that. Yes, Sagar from Breaking Point, Sagar and Jetty, he put out a video and saying like he got with the bankruptcy, not of FTX. It was another it's not BitConnect, it's another cryptocurrency company, I think, that filed for bankruptcy, and he got. He lost some 5,000 some odd dollars, right? And that speaks to that toxic positivity, but I don't want to go too far into that because I'm gonna give everything away. But yeah. So yeah, it's not just black people on the toxic positivity. And it's not just women either. It's mainly women, but it's not only women, right? So going back to what I was saying before and going to the title, your wishes are command. I didn't emphasize this earlier. Your wishes are command. Fine. Average, regular dudes, poor dudes need to move out the way. Poor men, regular men need to move out the way. Fine. You need to drop out of society. Fine. And that's not what y'all really meant. Y'all wanted them to still work, just be out of the way. Y'all wanted them to still contribute, just be out of the way, right? Now they took it a step further. They're completely throwing their hands up. You're actually getting what you want. And even if you don't want it, you still got to eat it. And all of you we're doing over the past 50, 60 years, right? You told us it was sexist if we spoke like this, if we acted like that, if we did this thing or that thing. Fine. We won't say anything sexist. And that's what it's going to be, right? That's what it is. Most men are not going to speak like Mr. Z sounds, or even, most young men, most men, they're not going to speak like this. They're just going to sit on their hands and their needs, and that's it. They're not going to kill themselves to strive to meet a woman, to have children, to maybe get married one day. For what? For what? Right? And this is how you get where we are now. Decades of putting the girls in front of them, putting the girls in front of the boys to the detriment of the boys. I want to be very clear, because whenever they talk, if you ever listen to some of these people talk, these talking heads, we're elevating the women, we're looking out for the women. I want to say this because it is a zero-sum game at the detriment of the boys. It could not be a zero-sum game, but y'all didn't design a society like that, so fine. You elevated the girls at the detriment of the boys, and here's the funny thing, at the detriment of those girls when they become women in the long run. Because their degree and their little $50,000 a year isn't good enough. This is speaking to a little bit of what Jason Black was speaking to a couple nights ago. That woman in her college degree and her $45,000, $50,000, $55,000 a year is still not good enough. She needs a male partner that makes as much as her at least. Here's the problem. You socialize those women. You didn't try to tamp down their insane understanding of hypergamy. You supercharged it. You turbocharged it. And here we are now. Because if you're a woman making 60 grand a year, you're already making more than the majority of men, regardless of race, before we control for race. So if you're looking for a man that earns even more than that, right now, 40% of women earn more than their male counterparts. So that's why it's important that I stress, no, you elevated the girls and the women to the detriment of the boys and the men, and even the girls and the women in the long run. Unless this was just a game for the elite to continue their power because they still get married and still continue elevating and leaving everyone else behind. I mean, there's space to put on the tinfoil hat. Mr. Z's not against it. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So once again, the glaring answer is Mouse Utopia Project. It pretty much explains everything that we see going on. Lowering birth rate, the social crisis, the social strife, the young people not having children, both the men and the women sticking their middle finger up, but the men actually mean it, right? And that's for the men that actually mean it. They actually mean it, right? They're not bluffing. They don't see a reason why. And over the past 50 or 60 years, now China, not so much. We're not going to use China as the example for this because they've come to their own over the past few decades, but more Japan and America and much of Western Europe, where the men are like, yeah, why? What do I gain? Right? What do I gain? And of course, the road is wet in South Florida. It's not raining right now, but y'all already know. What does Mr. Z say about South Florida? If it's not hot, it's raining. Or it's raining and hot. And if it's not raining, it's hot. Or it's raining and hot. And so it's not raining, and it's not necessarily hot, but the road is wet, and it is warm. Right? But yeah, so the women and the girls are and the elites are getting what you wanted. Right? The useless eaters, you wanted them out the way, so they're out the way. You just didn't think that they were going to throw their hands up this early. Right? But this is what y'all wanted, right? At least this is what it sounded like y'all wanted. Right? So fine. More regular men, elite men, are deciding not to engage in this system. And this system that was already rigged, but at least at one point, right? People still got enough that they knew the system was rigged, but they'll engage anyway. Right? Let me see. Charles says, Mr. Z coming to my panel tonight. I will try. Probably. Right. Once again, thank you to the sister Kareen. She sent me the email for the first video that I have in the description box. For all of you that want to know what I'm speaking about, my description box has at least 7, 8 videos speaking to the lowering birth rate across the different nations, Also speaking to in the black community, it was a black woman. I think she's LGBTQ, looking for black sperm, and only 2%, right, in the sperm banks are black sperm. Um, and then it was very interesting how they're now advertising to men to donate sperm by saying they know there's a lot of good black men out there. Really now? That's not what we've been hearing over the past, I don't know, since 1619. But over the past 5 or so decades, 6 decades, right? Definitely over the past 4 decades, right? So I have links speaking about the population in Europe, and I could have done a deep dive just in the European population. It's a, excuse my language, it's a shit show over there. What's going on in Japan, what's going on in China. I don't think I have a link for what's going on in Japan, but for many of us, our first like foray into this conversation is with what was going on in Japan, or what is going on in Japan with their population. It's been going down it's fallen off the cliff a long time ago, right? Also South Korea, right? South Korea actually has a lower birth rate than Japan. They're at 0.9. Japan is closer to like 1.4 or whatnot. Why did I look down? I looked down and GC said, "Don't donate ish." Right? Why did I look down again? I read Mr. Eric Deadman said, "Mr. Z, how dare you ask them to settle for someone on their level?" I know, right? I know, right? The gall of me, the gumption, the audacity, right? But then again, if you have a distorted view of your own level, or you trying to play a game and come up because you know your level and you trying to come up on a man's level, right? Pun intended on that one, by the way. You trying to come up on a man, right? Then of course you're gonna demand a man that's part of the elite, part of the top 10% or so, right? And that's what we're seeing. And so there, like I said previous video, there is a consequence to that. And some of you brothers in here have said it before. Not you brothers, but some of the brothers in the black manosphere have said it. The women have said it. Y'all want to talk eugenics? Fine. The men said, "Don't worry, we'll take ourselves out. Don't worry." Stop calling men's bluff. You want to know the lesson to this video? Stop calling men's bluff. Abort black male babies. I'm already ahead of you. If you poor, you shouldn't be trying to have kids. No way. Those men are already ahead of you. Don't worry about it. If you can't afford to put your kids in private school, why are you having kids anyway? Those men are already ahead of you. Stop calling men's bluff. Because everybody is so hyper focused on them. Everyone is so hyper individualistic in these different communities and societies, in these different nations, that you don't realize when it's just more than you that thinks that way, when it's just more than 5%, when it's 10 and 15 and 20% and a quarter and a third, you know what that does to society? You know what that does to the community? When more and more people say, you know what, yeah, if I can't have the best and the best and the best and the best, I don't want anything. It sounds nice. It sounds nice until you got to live it. Right? So once again, shout out to attorney Dennis Sperling. Shout out to Kareen. They kind of inspired this. Shout out to everybody that sends me emails for all of the different content that you guys read, the different things that you watch and read and listen to. Thank you very much. I do check it out. My email, I put it in I put it in the description box for every video. So if it's not in the video right when I start the video, it will be in that video later on. So thank you very much. All right. The Raj Report says her man is her level. If she doesn't have a man, her level has spoken. Ooh. Her level is in the core of the earth. Right? Her level's at the core of the earth, Raj, if she don't got no man. Right? And look, I truly believe that not everybody is meant to be in a relationship. Not everyone is meant to be married or have children. But where we are now, that's not the case. The people that are single right now, that probably is not your story. Right? And I also truly believe that there are single people that are really happy. They're really content. They're not miserable like, some of the tropes in the movie show. But is that everyone? Not. Is that most people that's single? No. Stop it. Most people that are single are not happy being single. Definitely the women. And yes, they are miserable. Right? Pretending not to be, but yes, they are miserable. And we know them. There are aunts, there are nieces, there are cousins, there are sisters, there are mothers. There are ex-girlfriends or ex-wives. We know. Right? There's a whole lot of pretending and fronting out there. We know you go to sleep with your toy in your hand, watching Lifetime movies with an ice cream next to you on the shelf, on your counter. We know. We know because your homegirls be busting y'all out. They be telling the truth. I've said this on multiple videos. Such and such, I feel so bad for her. She told me last night she went to sleep and right? So yeah, the men, just by being indifferent, right? We kept on talking about the wall of indifference in the black manosphere. It's here. It is here. It's been here actually. And women and women in your banks and your politicians and your corporations are going to have to deal with more and more men not making super expensive purchases, more and more men not floating women, more and more men not having children. So we're not contributing at all. We're not even contributing with the child. This is what y'all wanted? Fine. Right? This is what y'all wanted? Fine, it's here. It's been here. Right? So I'm about to come to a close, you guys. I am still here. I'm still here. I keep pressing the wrong button. My phone is like doing its own thing. There we go. I think I'm still here. I'm still here. Okay, so, like I said, there's a bunch of links and information in the description box, in my description box. I actually kind of want to do a part 2 to this, but I don't want to say anything because I have like a zillion videos to do a part 2 to now. Like, the growing list of part 2s that I have to do is ridiculous, right? But Rogish, I definitely would take you up on that offer. I'm definitely working on some stuff about this toxic positivity thing and how this manifesting thing that women are on plays into that. The divine feminine plays into that, right? All of this stuff, this playing with witchcraft and certain African spiritualities or certain different spirituality that's coming out of the Caribbean or in South America. How a lot of that plays into this because certain people, women, black women need something to hold on because for them life is so hard, life is so difficult, And all of that wish fulfillment television done screwed them up, and all of this weirdo stuff that's going on in social media with their favorite celebrities posting their big house and their nice cars all the time has so distorted the way they think and the way they feel about the world and of men, that now they're engaging in a whole lot of toxic positivity. And content creators like Chrissy and Paris Milan, yeah, I'm calling them out, and Real Talk with Yanni and all of these other people, they don't make it any better, right? And so this is how you get toxic positivity. The Raj Report says God created women to help men replenish the earth. They are all meant to be with someone. Then failing by the droves does not mean God has repurchased them. Oh man, right? God didn't come back with his reason. God, we didn't go back, and God said, "Where's the receipt? I'll take it back. I'll take them back." Right? So yeah, I mean, I agree with Raj on that. Right? But okay, Raj. Okay, let's give this to them. Okay, fine. You're not meant to be with a man. This is some old world thinking, right? This is some millennial old thinking. You're not just a baby making factory. That's not what you are. You're a living, breathing, thinking, feeling human being that has other wants and desires and aspirations outside of being a wife and a mother, right? Nothing wrong with that. Except maybe the men don't agree. And there you go. Maybe not enough men agree with you. So even more and more, you're not even getting the companionship and the partnership, let alone the kids and the marriage. So you don't even get men on the discount and cheap. Increasingly, women aren't even getting men on the discount and cheap. Like I said in a previous video about the friend zone, that's getting men on the cheap. So more and more young men are saying, yeah, no, you're not even getting that from me. So Raj, let's give them that. Okay, fine. You're not here to just have children and be a man's wife. I actually agree. 21st century, new rules. Okay, fine. Not enough men agree with you. What are you going to do then? Oh, wait, I'm going to socialize them differently. You've been doing that for decades and it's failing. We got to tell these people when they lost. We got to tell them when they're losing. Right? Fine. The young men don't agree with you. The men don't agree with you. You've been trying to socialize them differently for at least 5 decades. At least 5 decades. And it's failing. And not just in America. So let's do that again. It's failing not just in the black community, not just in America, not just in the West, but across the developed and developing world. And then you add on the Mouse Utopia project on that. Oh man, you got a horrible combustible mix. Right? So if y'all want to continue this Cold War amongst men and women, there's a consequence to that. And men never said there weren't going to be casualties on the man's side. But women so hopped up on this ego stroking and placating thing that's been going on the planet over the past 5 or so decades, actually didn't think that on the women's side of this Cold War there were going to be casualties. A lot of them. And what that would look like. Because we're not speaking about physical violence. We're not talking about deleting women. No. What it looks like when more and more women are crying themselves to sleep at night. When more and more women are actually doing okay in life. They're stable. They're making okay money. It's still not good enough. Because those white rich elites that y'all worship, they keep on pushing the ceiling further and further up. Right? And so they're flooding the zone. Literally. Gil Gami said that, and thank you for the super chat, Gil Gami. Gil Gami said the disinterest of men can be as or more powerful than their revolution. The price to pay will be heavy for all, though, especially for women's greed. Hey, that's exactly what I'm saying right now. That's exactly what I'm saying right now. Right? Thank you, Gil Gami, once again for the super chat. Thank you, everyone, for their super chats today. Right? Right? But this is what you wanted, right? Your wish, our command. Your wish, our command, ladies. Your wish, our command, elites. Your wish, our command for all the brothers that really buy into this eugenic stuff and who should and shouldn't be having children and who shouldn't and shouldn't have women. Fine. Your wish, our command. All the working class men, poor men, when we pull the rug from under you, I hope you have enough money. I hope you know how to fight good enough, and I hope you have enough ammunition. I hope you have enough. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all think of everyday dudes as useless eaters? Fine. And most of this won't be physical violence. It won't be. It'll just be regular people being indifferent. Regular, normal men being indifferent. And that's something y'all are not ready for. We're not even talking about the violence yet. Just the indifference is enough to shake the society, to crack the society, to break it. Right? And I'll pause right here, truly. Right? And yes, I see the troll in here, y'all. I'm ignoring them. Y'all don't delete the troll. Let the troll troll. Right? And so I'll truly pause right here. Once again, love, peace, and chicken grease. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to read all of your comments in the replay when the replay populates the comments. Right? And shout out to all of y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. And yes, so yes to let's do our thank yous again. Thank you to Attorney Dennis Sperling. Thank you to the sister Kareen. Thank you to all of you that send me emails on a regular. Shout out to the brother AB 83 Media. Yes, I'll be checking out your emails, brother. I know I don't reply to all of them. And thank you for all of my subscribers. And also let's say to Rogish, yes, I'm really going to work on that toxic positivity video. I don't know if I'm going to do links and stuff, but I am going to watch different things to kind of give me a gist of where I want, which direction I want to go in. And to Charles, yes, I'm going to try to be part of your stream tonight, barring that nothing crazy happens work related. So, all right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Go check out other Black Manosphere content and other non-Manosphere content related stuff so that we could have an understanding of the world, unlike some of these women. Anyway, all right, y'all. Mr. Z out. I'll pause right there.